Alrighty, here are the answers for Thursday's starters. So we've got trip 1 and trip 2, and we are writing a proportion, which means that they are going to have the same unit rate. They'll be equal. So we can set up 104 miles and 4 gallons. And then on this side, we have 78 miles, and we don't know how many gallons we'll need. So, and I probably should be writing these out so you don't get confused that those are just to help me keep my miles and my gallons straight. If I have miles on the top on this side, I have to have it on that side. And then we cross multiply. So we have 104 times G is 104G. And then on the other side, we do 4 times 78, which is 312. And remember that these things have to be equal. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say that we've got 104G, and that equals 312. Remember, we're trying to get the G alone because I just want to solve for 1G. So we divide by 104 and divide by 104. 104 divided by 104 leaves us with just 1G that we just usually write as a G. And 312 divided by 104 is going to be 3. So G is going to equal 3. Therefore, we can check that and make sure that it's right. And we do 104 over 4 and 78 over 3. And when I cross multiply, 3 times 104 is 312. And 4 times 78 is 312. And as long as those two match, I know I've got my right answer for the G, which was 3. G is equal to 3. On this one, we have 15 inches in 4 years. And we don't know how many inches on this side in 3 years. So we cross multiply. 15 times 3 is 45. And then 4 times x is 4x. And those two things have to be equal. If it's a proportion, those have to be equal. So then I come down here because I ran out of room up there. So 45 equals 4 x's. I only want to know what 1x is equal. So I divide by 4 on both sides of the equation. 4 divided by 4 leaves me with just x. And 45 divided by 4 is going to give me 11 and 25 hundredths. So my x is going to be 11 and 25 hundredths. And then I can check my answer by setting up a proportion where I have 15 over 4 and 11 and 25 hundredths over 3. And when I cross multiply, 15 times 3 is 45. And 4 times 11 and 25 hundredths is 45. So as long as those two things match, I know that my 11 and 25 hundredths is correct. All right, then you can solve these in 2 different ways. One way is if you know that 3 times 4 is 12, then you just multiply the top by 4 and x is equal to 4. Or you can solve like we've been doing with the cross multiplying. So you have 1/3 and x over 12. 1 times 12 is 12. 3 times x is 3x. And then to get the answer, we're just dividing both sides by 3 because we want 1x. And 3 divided by 3 leaves me with just an x. And 12 divided by 3 leaves me with 4. Same thing with this one. If you know 5 times 5 is 25, then you can just multiply the denominator times 5 too, and that gives you 45. If you don't know that, then you can cross multiply. So you have your 5/9 and 25 over y. Multiply 5 times y, that gives you 5y. 9 times 25 is going to be 225. Those things have to be equal. So then instead of 5 y's, we just want 1 y. So we divide by 5. That leaves us with 1 y. And divide by 5. And 225 divided by 5 gives us that 45. And then you could cross multiply and check those. If you know that 26 divided by 2 is 13, and you want to figure out what number divided by 2 is 22, then you could do 44 divided by 2 is 22. If you don't know any of that, this is one where you could really set up the problem. So you've got 26 over z. That equals 13 over 22. Then you cross multiply. 22 times 26 is 572. And then 13 times z is 13z. I'm running out of room here. Let me do it down here. So for number 7, then we've got 572, and that equals 13z. I want just one z, so I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 13. 13 divided by 13 leaves me with just one z. And 572 divided by 13 leaves me with 44. And then the last one, I don't know what to do here, so I'm just going to cross multiply this time. So I'm going to do 30 times 2 6/10, and that's going to give me 78. And then 1 5/10 times b is 1 5/10 b. And then I'm going to need to solve that problem. So I'm going to come down here to solve it. So I have 1 5/10 b equals 78. I want that b so that it's by itself. I'm going to divide by 1.5 and divide this side by 1.5. 1.5 divided by 1.5 leaves me with just one b. And 78 divided by 1.5 is going to leave me with 52. So my b is equal to